Walker here from WestfordCAT, and I'm with Westford's Health Director, Jeff Stevens, for our weekly Westford Health Beat and Health Department update. How are you, Jeff?
Good. How are you today, Patty?
Very warm. It's a warm day.
It sure is.
Better than cold, though, always in my book.
I will take this over shoveling snow any day.
Me too, absolutely. Okay, Jeff, so as we usually do, we talk COVID-19 numbers locally here in Westford. So what are the numbers this week?
Sure. The local numbers happen to be, our total cases haven't gone up by much since last week. They are 143 total cases. We currently have 3 active cases, and total recovered people is still up to 127. So we're seeing people cases come in and then go out. We're not seeing at this point a big influx. If we do, I'm not going to panic about that, because I think it's possible you have 3 or 4 people that get sick in a 1 or 2 day span. It may look like our numbers are climbing, but we'll just need to watch it over a longer period of time and just remind people that it's still here, and COVID isn't going away anytime soon until we get a vaccine in place. That's what my opinion is of it.
So when you say we might get an influx of numbers, but not to panic, do you mean because it's, say, a family?
Could be a family. It could be some healthcare workers. It could be 3 or 4 people that become ill at one of our long-term care facilities, even though it's already gone through there. It could be a number of different factors. It could be a group of people that went to a known hotspot and came back with it. So there's lots of things we need to watch for. And if we see anything that's really concerning, we're obviously going to let the public know, to as much as we can, to say, hey, it's still here. We're seeing an uptick. Buckle down again. And go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh. That's all I really want people to understand, is there is a possibility that we could see an uptick. And if we get to 0 in the next week or so, that doesn't mean COVID has disappeared. It just means that there are no active cases in Westford.
What I was going to say in regards to that was, so yesterday, part 2, phase 2 of the Massachusetts reopening plan by Governor Baker took place. So what does that entail, and what advice are you going to give to some of those businesses and customers?
Well, what we're telling people is, in part 2 or step 2 of phase 2, what it really is it's another rendition of what's already happening. We already know what the drills are. It is wearing a mask when you're out in public and you can't maintain 6-foot social distance, maintaining 6 feet at any given time, and making sure that people are washing their hands and sanitizing whenever possible. So the message never really changes. It just changes what business actually will go forward doing what they need to do. Every business, it's like a math equation. All you're doing is changing a few of the numbers. And the hair salons and the nail salons, even though they opened at separate times, carry a similar process that what they need to do is keeping the customers safe, calling them in one at a time, going slow, making sure that they are not cross-contaminating their equipment and cross-infecting people.
Sanitize, sanitize, sanitize.
Yep, and just go slow, be careful.
So what businesses are opening in this step 2, phase 2?
So restaurants are going to be able to start having indoor seating, and they'll have instead of a percentage, what they're going to go with is making sure that tables are 6 feet apart. In some cases, restaurants will be able to put partitions up that are at least 6 feet tall, where they have booths back to back. Personal care, like the nail salons, the massage therapists, they will be able to open. They'll be able to do their business, but they're going to have to follow a very similar guideline to 1 customer at a time, clean and sanitize between customers, wearing masks at all times. All those things are going to apply to them as well. So we are definitely seeing a slow roll back to normal, and that's a good thing. I think people are going to be looking forward to being able to go into their favorite spots again. And another personal good thing that's happening is personal training at a one-on-one level is now happening, which is great.
They would just have to obviously be 6 feet apart.
Yep, your trainer and you have to be 6 feet apart. You're allowed two if it's the same family. So a husband, wife, sister, brother. I would even go so far to say is two roommates in the same household
Right?
would be able to do that. So they're able to do those personal training items, and we're just going to now make sure that everybody's got the guidance they need, which we've put out to all the businesses that can open on how they can do it, and they're doing it, and they're doing it fine. We haven't had any real problems or any difficulty getting that message out.
Excellent. Now, what about bars? So they're not opening yet, correct?
Bars are not opening, and there is one big question that seems to keep popping up with a lot of restaurants is many restaurants have bars within them, and a lot of people like to go sit at that bar and eat because it's, to a lot of people, it's just another place to sit down and go eat. And unfortunately, we're not allowing at the state level anybody to sit at the bar. But what can happen is tables can be placed around the bar 6 feet apart, making sure they're properly socially distanced. And that space around the bar can be used to add capacity to the restaurant. But the bar itself has to remain closed for the time being.
Okay, yeah, a lot of bars have tables in, the high top tables or whatever. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yep, that's what everybody will be able to do. It will allow people to be near the bar, but you're not going to be able to sit at the bar.
Gotcha. But there could still be a bartender there serving you drinks.
Right, and really the bartenders, what we've seen in Westford, they are going to the outdoor seating areas. They are serving the drinks to the customers there. I actually feel pretty bad for a lot of them because they're working really hard as opposed to just being behind their station and serving customers in front of them. They are working hard, running back and forth. So hats off to our service industry for the amount of work they're actually doing. It's pretty amazing.
And how they've been able to adjust to all this,
Yep.
I like getting takeout or, when before the restaurants are open as opposed to, wandering around in a grocery store. Though I heard that's actually pretty safe on the scale of 1 to 10. It's not too bad. But anyway.
I feel it is. I mean, we all have to eat at some point, so
yeah,
we gotta take a risk.
We do have to eat for sure. So let's talk about something else besides COVID-19. The weather's getting warmer and it's humid and it's the time for mosquitoes. So what's going on with Triple E?
All right. So to give everybody a quick history, last year, Triple E, which is Eastern Equine Encephalitis, hit the state fairly hard. And what Triple E is, it's a pretty rare but serious virus. You get infected by mosquitoes that are infected with it. It's usually found in freshwater or hardwood swamps. It particularly infects birds with no evidence of illness. And then when the mosquitoes become infected from feeding on the birds, they then in turn feed on humans, and that's how we get it. It's a pretty rare disease. There's only been 110 cases that occurred, and I think that's since 1938. Many of them are in the South Shore, and every 10 to 20 years, the outbreaks occur, and they last 2 to 3 years. Last year was the first year of our outbreak that we currently have. So we could be in for another 2 to 3 years of this cycle with Triple E. And it's important because it spikes a high fever. It gives you, what's dangerous about it is a temp that goes between 103 and 106. 106 in an adult can be deadly. Symptoms show up 3 to 10 days after the bite, and there's a lot of inflammation and swelling around the brain. And that is what can actually kill a human. So there is no treatment for it, and people who survive, unfortunately, can have lifelong conditions and be permanently disabled from it. So even though there are very few humans that get it, it's still really important in this world that we protect everybody the best we can from this, because nobody wants to see a relative go through this particular disease. I can actually say I know one person that had it last year, and it was a college friend that I actually saw on the news. And their daughter got bit, and it's amazing. Every now and again, something hits close to home. So it's
Right.
something that I'm paying attention to. And what we need to do is just do the best we can to protect ourselves. And that's when we're outside, wearing long pants, wearing bug repellent, 30% DEET when possible. When the weather is hot, there's a little less of a risk, but mosquitoes like shade, and they're going to be around the woods edges, and they're going to be places where they're looking to get a fresh meal. And unfortunately, they love humans. So
Don't
that
we know
said,
it, right?
that said, what we do in Westford and a lot of other parts of the state is we have contracted with Central Mass Mosquito Control Project. And that particular group goes into the towns that hire them, and they spray for mosquitoes usually 7 to 10 times a month. You can request your particular neighborhood. They will come out and do it. And Westford actually has days that they'll be out. I have the July schedule, and I'll just read it off. It is June 30th, July 7th, July 9th, 14th, 16th, 21st, 23rd, 28th, and 30th. So on those days, you can contact mosquito control ahead of time, and they will spray your neighborhood. Additionally, if you do not want your neighborhood sprayed, you can contact them and get on the do not spray list.
But you can have just your property sprayed as well.
Yes, if you give them an address, they will treat around your property. There are a couple of things when they're coming out on those dates. We recommend that people keep the street side facing windows closed for the time that they're going to be there, for about a half an hour to an hour after they leave. Just keep the windows closed and allow the spray to do its work on the adult mosquitoes. It's called adulticiding is what we're looking to knock off the adult mosquitoes. It doesn't get the larva. And additionally, what we're going to do is the state tests for mosquitoes on a regular basis. So once we find our first triple E mosquito in the state, we'll notify as soon as we can and let people know where it is. Last year in Westford, we didn't have one. We were considered low risk all the way through the mosquito season, which was great. Part of that is we made sure our horses were vaccinated. We ask everyone to get their horses vaccinated, and we highly recommend it because triple E will unfortunately kill our equine friends. So it's really important to make sure we're doing that. So right now, that's what we're doing. Is we're just another one of our jobs is just making sure we're safe from things like West Nile virus and triple E.
Like we need another virus.
Yeah, like we don't have enough of them, but
no, that's good. Good information, Jeff. Yeah, everyone's so focused on COVID-19 that I'm sure a lot of people have forgotten about the dangers of triple E. So thanks for reminding the residents.
Yeah, so that's one thing that we do is another one of the jobs we like to double check in on and make sure that people are aware of the service and they can use it and they're as safe as they can. And if anybody has questions about triple E, West Nile virus, or some of the treatments, they can contact Mosquito Control, or if they'd like for us to talk to them, you can always call my office and we'll be more than happy to talk to you about triple E and mosquitoes.
978-692-5509?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay, great. All right, good stuff, Jeff. I will talk to you again next week. I appreciate you taking the time.
All right, and we're going to shoot to bring Nancy Burns on next week to talk some sheltering in a COVID time and just to get her perspective on what we might need to do in the future, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, in other words, there were times when there's a disaster, a hurricane or an ice storm, and people have to leave their homes. And so Nancy's going to talk a little bit about um, how you guys are going to be handling that with the COVID-19 pandemic.
Right, because we are starting to get closer to hurricane season, which technically has started. And why not just add a natural disaster into the entire mix? Let's really get ourselves, hopefully we don't have to deal with that and it doesn't happen anytime soon, but we've got to be ready for it.
No, absolutely. Better to prepare than to not. So, yep. So we'll look forward to that next week, Jeff. Stay safe, okay?
All right, thanks, Patty. You too.
For WestfordCAT, I'm Patty Stalker.